what's the difference between a sacrifice and an offering? This week in the Torah, we begin the book of Leviticus, known in Hebrew as Vayikra. This week, we Jews enter into an ancient world that no longer exists, and yet it takes up 1/5 of the Torah. It's a world of korbanot, of animals and oil and bread that the Israelites brought to the altar as their way of praying to God, of asking forgiveness or giving thanks. We often think of korbanot as sacrifices, but most of them became the meals that the Kohanim and the Leviim, the different kinds of priests who served in the temple, that they ate as a kind of a barbecue, although other korbanot were wholly burnt up into incense-flavored smoke. But the Hebrew word korbanot is not even related to the English word sacrifices. Korbanot means offerings, literally drawing close to God. In other words, to bring an offering wasn't just about giving something up. It was about giving a gift, a way of making a connection. The difference between a sacrifice and an offering is the difference between losing something precious and sharing something precious. To share something precious has the potential to change how we feel about what we're doing, from a sense of loss over what we've given away to joy in giving it. What strikes me as we begin this period of Torah readings is how dramatically Judaism has changed since then. Judaism changed when the temple was turned to rubble and the offerings ceased. Now, I, like many of you, am grateful that we no longer kill animals as offerings to God. I appreciate how different rabbis are from Kohanim, from the priests who oversaw those offerings. But just think about the cultural shift that every individual had to make at that time, when their routine of connecting to God was taken away from them. Think about the loss of this most precious institution that united Jews. Think about the fear of how they would continue. And yet somehow we adjusted. And happily, Jews found other ways to connect through prayer, through gathering in synagogues, through learning Torah. Our tradition remained true to its roots by maintaining the 3-time-a-day schedule of the korbanot in praying 3 times a day, by offering prayers instead of groceries. For centuries, Jews have held the image of the holy Jerusalem in their minds when we pray, long after the temple was destroyed, and for long periods when Jerusalem was inaccessible to Jews. Universally, synagogues face toward Jerusalem, facing east in our case, as a reminder of the holiness that unites Jews in our dispersion across the globe. Jewish practice replaced offerings of the farm and the field with offerings of the heart. And through it all, Jews held fast to ancient routines and holidays and enhanced them in new ways as a whole new way of being Jewish took root. That feels a lot like the state that we are in today. Nishtanah. How different these times are than just a few weeks ago. So much sacrifice, planned vacations, visits to family, even hugging a friend. But can we turn those sacrifices into offerings? Now, let's remember that the book of Leviticus explicitly provides for different kinds of offerings so that everyone could give what was accessible to them. So for us, one person delivers groceries to a person who is sick and can't get out. Another person who loves walking is distributing leaflets throughout the city for the census. One person participates in a protest. Another person buys gift cards for local restaurants or shops. One person takes care of a grandchild, and another organizes online gatherings for kids so that parents can have time away from incessant childcare. What is most important is not what the offering is, but it's the way we think about it. So pause for a moment and consider, how much am I focusing on the losses, the sacrifices, the fears for the future? And if so, how does that affect me and the people around me? What would happen if I could shift the focus away from what I've lost to what I have received and what I have to give? The word Vayikra, the name of this book, ends with the silent letter Aleph. In the Torah, that Aleph is written smaller than all the other letters. Now, Aleph is also the first letter in the word in Hebrew for I, Anochi, or Ani. On the one hand, this small Aleph is a reminder of just how small we are and how little control we have over our lives at any time, and certainly how little control we have in this time of pandemic that has enshrouded our entire world and everyone who lives in it. But on the other hand, the word Vayikra means God called. That is, God calls to me, even in my smallness, to do what I can with the unique gifts that I have. The question is, can we hear the call in the stillness? And can we respond with a loving offering?